I'm already going rogue. I just have to understand how it works. And the instructions are all in German. Bonjour! Do you want to be historically snatched? Because today we are making a Victorian corset, one of the most iconic pieces of historical clothing. As you may know, I love historical costumes. And I especially love the end of the Victorian era. It is known for its elaborate and elegant fashion, and I want to make absolutely every one of those dresses. Corsets were an essential part of the Victorian silhouette, as they support the bust, the posture, and the garment. It is like the foundation of a good historical outfit. I have made a lot of costumes already, historical or not, but I don't have a good foundation corset that fits me right. I had made an attempt which looks very good, but also doesn't fit at all. Look how much effort I put in this. Doesn't fit. I want to remedy this situation, and that's why I'm super glad that I received this. A kit to make my own. I usually draft my own patterns, but I have this group, Les Vertugadins. They have reached and sent me this 1880s corset kit. Les Vertugadins is a French cooperative society of costumers. It's not exactly a company, it's owned by its workers. Very nice. I know some of them, and they are very cool. Full disclosure, they are not paying me, I can say whatever I want, but they did send me this for free. And when I'm done sewing it, maybe I can make it more fun by painting it. Sorry. So in this video, let's go through the process of making this corset, fitting the pattern, cutting the fabric, sewing it together, adding the boning, the lacing, the eyelets, and finally painting it with dye. So without further ado, let's go. So here we have our box. What do we have here? A little gift tape measurer, boning, grommets, little card, food instructions in English and French in case you want to learn a few terms, pins, bias tape, cord, another little gift, main material, a cotton coutil, very strong, and the pattern. For the heads of the cards, they use their costumes, and I have some costumes for rent there, so the Joker is my costume. Look, it is this one. This is a very nice touch. First step, measurements. I was wondering why there were so many sizes, but actually you choose your size and there is one piece that you just have to choose the right cup for your breast. So there are only 6 pieces on this pattern. And before cutting the pieces, I'm just going to adjust the size because I am size 40, but I have a waist 38. So you can just connect one size to another when you cut. I'm not going to do any height modifications because the only thing that you have to choose when you take the boss is that if your height is above 170 or below. I'm actually 170, but I have a small bust, so I choose the below 170. So hopefully I won't have to do any height adjustments. We'll see. Fine. I'm using an old and strong fabric for this mock-up. Usually for making mock-up, you want to try with the fabric that is as close as possible as the final one. I'm mostly done with the mock-up, I'm just going to add some eyelets, but I have a secret. It's these! Maybe you've seen them in a previous video. It's just a strip of fabric that is kind of finished. It has boning, it has eyelets, and I use it to just sew it on the mock-up so I don't have to do all the eyelets every time and waste them if I throw away the mock-up. If you plan on making several corsets, I will highly recommend you make a mock-up and also you do this kind of stuff. It's a very neat tool and you just make it yourself. Okay, so this is where we are. It is very good, I don't see much alterations. It fits just right, I think the bust is perfect. I have plenty of room here. It's not doing the back roll thing.
Back rolls.
I have like a centimeter in the back for the eyelets. I think I can remove the tiniest amount at the waist and maybe add a bit at the hips so the shape could be a little bit more dramatic and I can even like wear padding underneath. But yeah, it is quite good. I have no height issues because sometimes like the corset will be pushing too much because I have a short torso and the back is not too long as well, so it's not like pushing my ribs. Honestly, I'm pretty pleased. So I will remove a few millimeters here on the side and here on the side back, maybe just one size at the waist. I'm adding a bit of hips everywhere except the front, connecting all the lines And now we should have a fitted pattern. Pattern ready, I think we can finally cut our fancy fabric. This is a Coutil, it's very, very strong. According to my burn test, it seems to be 100% cotton, which is great for comfort, but also for what I plan to do with it later. So let's iron this with a lot of steam and a lot of heat. Okay, I've pinned the pieces and traced the seam allowance. These are the boning channels. I'm supposed to cut, you're supposed to cut 10 or 22 channels, depending if you are doing all the seams or the seams and the center panels. I will start with just the seams and see if I need more. I'm not cutting the channels out of the Coutil. I will use some Grommets instead. There is enough fabric to make the biggest size with the boning channels, but if you are a bit smaller or even like the smallest size, I think you have more than enough to make just 2 corsets. But yeah, that way I'm saving all of this and maybe I can make a second one sometimes. Because this is very nice stuff. I know this is supposed to be a tutorial on using this. I'm already going rogue. Sorry. This is a strong fabric, so I'm taking out the fancy scissors for this one. There is a little whale here. And this is because in French a whale is called Baleen, and Baleen is also the name of the bones. You also have that in English with the word Baleen, and that's because historically, before the Industrial Revolution, you wouldn't have easily manufactured steel corset stuff, so they would use the whale's teeth for corsetry. I don't know how it's called, I guess Baleen. So before the Industrial Revolution, like the 19th century, you wouldn't have metal boning or metal eyelets in corsets. But here, 1980s, it works. And as usual, we start with the most difficult part of this project, which is inserting the basque. And hopefully when this is done, the rest will be just... We bind 2 edges with the bias tape so it's clean on the inside and mark where the little hooks of the basque will fit. This can be sewed, leaving those places free so you can just slide it in. For the other side of the basque, you mark the placement and then you poke a hole through the fabric without cutting the threads. You want to just wiggle them in without damaging anything. This will make sure that the whole thing stays strong. That was the front. Now for the back, we are just going to sew a few boning channels on each side of the grommets. The rest of the pieces can be assembled using a flat felt seam. It encases the edge of a seam into the other one, and the result is clean on the outside and on the inside, and it's also very strong. So we have all our seams in place. Cool. Oh. Except this one. Now I need an extra row of stitching here just to secure those flat felt seam. And for the boning channels, I feel like this is a bit too wide for the bones. So maybe I will use green. I'm going to add colors later. So this is a better size and I'm going to add it on the inside anyways. So let's make 10 boning channels. I'm finishing off the top edge with the cotton bias, cutting the extra seam allowance that frayed a little bit, but that's okay because we are getting rid of it. I always prefer to do the binding on one side, then boning, then binding on the other side. Because if you do both at the same time after the boning, you have to be extra careful not to sew through the boning, which will just explode your machine needle. And when the needle breaks, it can just go into your eye. It has happened to me before. Fortunately, I was wearing glasses, so I just heard the sound of it on my glasses. So just be careful when you are sewing through boning. The provided grommets are fine. Yeah. But I've had these rainbow grommets for years and I've been dying to just test them out. I think this is finally a good time to use them. I haven't done the colors on the corset yet, but I just imagine what the final piece would look like with the eyelets. It is so cute, I'm going rainbow eyelets every time now. Ta-da! Ah, fits perfect. I have 6 centimeters of waist reduction. There is still some room in the back, so I can wear it even tighter, but now it's very comfortable. So it's not too tight here. I have room here, I have room here, room for dessert. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It's like a great foundation for a lot of historical costumes. If you want to get a kit for yourself or as a gift, I will put the link for it in the description. Again, I'm not sponsored, I don't get a commission or anything. I just think it's good stuff made by good people. But it is just white, so let's make it interesting. I want to add a lot of different colors on this. I thought about paint, which will work, but also I want to make it more textile friendly, so I bought this. This is like a tie-dye kit for kids. It was very cheap. It has plenty of different colors. I just have to understand how it works. You're supposed to keep your stuff in a plastic bag during the night, but I'm not going to do that with this. We will experiment and see how it goes. I just want to have fun with this. Since this corset is 1880s, I wanted to do an impressionism painting on it. Well, I guess just inspired, because I'm not a painter. Impressionism is an art movement from the end of the 19th century. It's a lot about the effect of light on colors and shapes. So I think it's very fitting for this project. You have a lot of tiny brush strokes, which are gonna be complicated since I'm using dye and not paint. So the colors will kind of end up fusing together. It makes the result a bit blurry, but I think a lot of those paintings are blurry anyway, on purpose I mean. So the main inspo is La Promenade by Claude Monet. So we're going with clouds on a blue gradient and these brushy grass things. This is definitely not precise work, but it is very pleasant. It is the next day, it's all dry, it's gotten a little bit lighter, which is perfect. The gradient is working really well. Now I can rinse it so it doesn't put any color on my white historical shirts. And to make sure the color stays on, I'm using this. This is supposed to help the dye stay on better. Dutch Qualität. And the instructions are all in German. As a finishing touch, I'm adding some decorative flossing. And it is time for the reveal.